I have been searching my mind for a subject to talk to you about today. Previous speakers have spoken on most everything possible, so there's very little left for me. I thought maybe we could just have a plain talk about the day after. The day after your retirement. To do so, I think we must go back a few years. We should go back to the day you started to work for this great organization. I'm sure you remember that day. Several days after. You will remember coming home in the evening to those first few days, feeling you were not suited for the job. You felt you should give up. Someone seemed to take an interest in you, spent some time showing you how to do the job better and easier. And as the years rolled on, you found yourself taking on this role of teacher. Down through your 20, 30, 40, and in some cases 50 years, you were helping someone, showing how to do the job better and easier. There are so many today who remember you as a friend that took an interest in their work. What a pleasure for you over these years. You were so happy when some of these young fellows were promoted to more responsible positions. You remember saying that young Bill was a smart fellow. Inwardly you were glad that you had something to do with his background. So life went on until you reached that magic age, the day you retired. The last few days had been busy ones, going over every detail with young Bill, who was to succeed you. You were a bit late getting home that first night, or that last night. The boys had a little party for you, and when you came into your home, you said to Mary, "Well, that's it." You also remember Mary saying, "Isn't it wonderful, Bill? Now we can do together the many things we have wanted to do. No more night calls. No more will I have to come home to the neighbors alone. And we can enjoy the camp. You can fish. And you can fix that screen door that you never got around to." Dinner over, a number of neighbors and friends dropped in to offer their congratulations. And your family also called with the grandchildren. And young Tommy asked if you could now fix his wagon. Freddie was so thrilled that he could now go fishing with you. Or perhaps a little later than usual, going to bed that night. And you said no alarm clock. Maybe we'll sleep in tomorrow. Perhaps you did not sleep in. Maybe you did not sleep too well that night. And after breakfast, you decided to fix that screen door now that you had time. And while you were getting your tools, your thoughts went to young Bill. Would he remember everything? Would he be strong? Would he be able to stand up to all situations? Mary had turned on the radio to hear the news. You were not paying too much attention until you heard the announcer say, "We interrupt this program to bring you this special announcement. There has been a serious occurrence." More details as we receive them. The hammer fell from your hand. You automatically started for the telephone. Then you suddenly remembered there was nothing you could do. The hours of that day were long. You stayed by the radio. Your mind was in a turmoil. Mentally, you went over every detail of what was to be done. Young Bill remembered everything. What a day you put in. And along about dinner time, young Bill called. And as he filled you in on the details, you inwardly smiled. All had gone well. have been worried whether young Bill would do a good job. Just as you had been taught and had perfected your work over the years, you had taught young Bill. He had been your pupil. Just as you had confidence in yourself, you had passed on your talents. You should have been able to relax and say, while young Bill is getting his baptism early, he will come through. I taught him. You had often said some words of praise about the way he did his work. Yet on this very first day of your retirement, you forgot that you had given years of perfection, not only to this young Bill, but to many others. You had forgotten just how important in the company's history you had been. For some, retirement is a nightmare. But for all, it should be the most wonderful days of your life. Through the clouds of smoke from your favorite pipe, you should be able to see the path. The joy you had when you were passing on your talents to the young Bills who are to carry on your work. We should remember, too, that since the inception of the pension plan in 1902, some 45,000 employees have retired. And if these men and women had not faith in the young Bills they taught, your company would not have prospered and reached that exalted position it now holds, and command the right to that title, the world's most complete transportation system. You should not forget, you have been important people. And your image is living in all the young Bills throughout the world, who are also at this very moment teaching and perfecting other young Bills who will carry on. These 70 years or so are all we've got. And we can fill them, if we will, with great deeds, greater dreams. You have done the great deeds. You are now entitled to your dreams. He will come through. I taught him. You had often said some words of praise about the way he did his work. Yet, in this first day of your retirement, you forgot that you had given your years of perfection to not only this young Bill, but to many. You had forgotten you were an important man in the company's history. For some, retirement is a nightmare. But for all, it should be the most wonderful days of your life. Through the clouds of smoke from your favorite pipe, you should be able to see the past. The joy you had when you were passing on your talents to the young Bills who were to carry on. We too should remember that since the inception of pension in 1902, some 45,000 employees have left the service for retirement. And if these employees, like you, had not faith in the young Bills they taught, your company would not have prospered and gone ahead. Attain that exalted position it now holds, to command the right to that title, the world's most complete transportation system. You are important people. Your image is living in all the young Bills throughout the world, who are also, at this very moment, teaching and perfecting other young Bills who will carry on. These 70 years or so of life are all we've got. But we can fill them, if we will, with great deeds and greater dreams. You have done the great deeds